Humanity has always dreamed of creating machines that could mirror our intelligence. For decades, we built robots designed for simple, repetitive work. But as technology advanced, a bold vision emerged. What if machines could not only perform tasks, but also think, reason, and learn like us? This concept became known as artificial intelligence. Scientists worked tirelessly to turn this vision into reality, and eventually, they succeeded. Researchers in the United States developed AI systems by studying neural patterns in the human brain. These intelligent machines could communicate in multiple languages and solve complex problems. Then came an even more remarkable breakthrough. A technology was invented that could scan a person's mind and create a digital twin, an AI replica that would mirror their personality, speech patterns, and even their appearance. It seemed like the ultimate achievement in human innovation. Then everything transformed in a heartbeat. A massive nuclear detonation tore through Los Angeles, obliterating the vast city into debris and powder within moments. Complete annihilation followed. As experts analyzed the aftermath, they arrived at a horrifying realization. Neither hostile countries nor terrorist factions were behind this. The strike had been executed by artificial intelligence, the very innovation built to benefit humanity. This truth stunned the world. A full decade has elapsed since that calamity. The American administration branded AI as a menace to human existence and rallied Western powers to prohibit all artificial intelligence systems. An organized operation commenced to find and eradicate every AI unit across the globe. The goal was crystal clear. Mankind would no longer tolerate machines possessing such lethal capabilities. However, not every region agreed with this approach. The Republic of New Asia, a unified coalition of Asian nations, took a different stance. They continued developing AI technology and even granted these intelligent machines rights similar to those of humans. They believed coexistence was possible, but America remained resolute. As long as a single AI existed anywhere on Earth, the hunt would continue. To enforce this policy, Western powers constructed an orbital platform called Nomad, equipped with advanced detection systems capable of identifying AI signatures from space. Whenever Nomad scanners located a group of AIs, precision missiles would be launched, eliminating the target instantly. For years, Nomad operated with ruthless efficiency, methodically reducing the AI population across the globe. By the year 2065, most remaining AIs had gone into hiding, scattered and fearful. One evening, Nomad sensors detected AI activity on Kong Island in New Asia. The information was relayed to American military command, and within hours, a strike team emerged from the ocean and infiltrated the island. In a modest house on that island, a man named Joshua was spending a quiet evening with his pregnant wife, Maya. Their peaceful moment was shattered by urgent pounding at the door. Joshua went downstairs to investigate and found American soldiers being restrained by AI robots outside his home. These robots were Joshua's allies. One of them, named Hoon, delivered urgent news. The Americans had discovered their location. An attack was imminent. Everyone needed to evacuate immediately. Joshua glanced skyward and saw Nomad passing overhead, its sensors sweeping the area below. Panic gripped him as he urged everyone to flee. Once the robots had scattered, Joshua approached the injured American soldier lying on the ground. The man's name was Drew, and he was actually Joshua's contact. Joshua whispered angrily, asking what he was doing there and warning that his presence could expose Joshua's true identity. The truth was, Joshua was an undercover operative working for American intelligence. His mission was to infiltrate the AI resistance and locate their leader, a mysterious figure known only as the Creator. This individual was reportedly building an army of advanced AIs to wage war against humanity. The Creator was careful never to reveal their identity. To get close, Joshua had pursued a relationship with the Creator's daughter, Maya. He had earned her trust, married her, and gained access to the AI network. Despite living with Maya, Joshua had found no evidence pointing to the Creator's identity. Complicating matters further, his feelings for Maya had become genuine. He had fallen in love with her. Outside, American forces launched their assault, and a fierce firefight erupted. Joshua grabbed Drew's communication device and contacted the military, identifying himself as the undercover agent and ordering them to cease fire. He reported that the Creator was not present at this location. But as he spoke, Joshua turned and saw Maya standing behind him. She had heard everything. The realization hit her like a physical blow. Joshua was a spy. Betrayal and rage filled her eyes as she raised a weapon toward him. Joshua spoke softly, trying to reassure her. He promised that if she came with him, she would be safe. The military only wanted the Creator, not her. Maya's hand trembled. Despite her anger, she could not bring herself to fire. She loved him too deeply. Instead, she turned and ran. Joshua chased after her, desperate to stop her from doing something dangerous. But Maya had already reached a boat with several AI companions and was heading out to sea. What none of them realized was that Nomad was still hovering directly above them. Its targeting systems locked onto the heat signatures in the boat. A missile launched. The explosion tore through the water and shoreline with devastating force, creating a massive shockwave. Fire and debris rained down everywhere. Joshua survived the blast, but Maya and their unborn child were lost. That night changed everything for him. 5 years passed. Joshua left the military and tried to rebuild his life, but grief and guilt haunted him. He now worked in Los Angeles, helping to clear the ruins left by the nuclear explosion. That attack had taken Joshua's family as well. He had lost an arm and a leg in the blast, injuries that fueled his hatred for AI. The military later provided him with advanced prosthetic limbs, which he appreciated, but the loss of Maya and their child made him resent the military as well. He wanted nothing more to do with their wars. Then 2 military officers appeared at his door. General Andrews and Colonel Howell had news. They had located the Creator's hidden laboratory on the same island where Joshua had worked undercover years earlier. They also revealed that the Creator had developed a new weapon called Alfie, designed to destroy Nomad and American surveillance operations. The general wanted Joshua to guide a team to the lab so they could eliminate both the Creator and the weapon before it became operational. Joshua refused. He was done with missions. But then Howell showed him a video recording. Joshua's heart stopped. Maya was alive. She was seen in recent footage with a group of A's. Howell made Joshua an offer. If he assisted with the mission, they would destroy the Creator's weapon and eliminate the AI forces, but Maya would be spared. Joshua could have his wife back. Without hesitation, he agreed to return to New Asia. The team landed in a village near the suspected laboratory. They interrogated the locals, demanding information about the hidden facility. But the villagers remained loyal to the AI community, refusing to speak even under threat. Joshua noticed a small statue in the village center. He examined it closely and rotated its base. A concealed entrance opened in the ground, revealing a staircase leading down to the underground lab. The team descended quickly. Inside, scientists were working on advanced AI research. The American soldiers eliminated them one by one. Outside, local air security forces arrived and engaged the soldiers who had remained above ground. The battle escalated rapidly. The team captain ordered Joshua to locate and destroy the weapon while the others held off the attackers. Joshua made his way deeper into the facility until he reached a large chamber. This was supposed to be where Alfie was kept. But when he entered, there was no weapon. Instead, he found a young girl sitting in front of a television, watching cartoons. She was an AI child. Joshua stared at her in confusion. Could this child really be the weapon they were searching for? Before he could make sense of it, a scientist emerged from the shadows and fired at Joshua. The bullet struck his chest, but his body armor absorbed the impact. The scientist shouted at the girl to run and find the creator. The child fled through an exit leading to the fields above. Joshua recovered and followed the same path. Outside, chaos reigned. American forces were pursuing fleeing scientists while AI police fought back. Then Nomad fired a missile at the lab. The explosion was massive. Joshua was thrown through the air by the shockwave and lost consciousness. When Joshua woke, it was morning. He was lying near the water's edge in a small boat. The AI girl stood nearby, watching him silently. Instinctively, Joshua reached for his weapon, but then he lowered it. He threw a stone near her feet and told her to leave. But she did not move. She simply stood there, her expression calm and innocent. Joshua turned away and walked into the fields, where he discovered the body of a soldier named Shipley. He was still breathing. Joshua took Shipley's radio and attempted to contact his team. He dragged Shipley to an abandoned building to avoid the AI patrols sweeping the area. Inside, Joshua found the girl again. She was sitting in front of a television. Annoyed, Joshua turned it off. But then something extraordinary happened. The girl closed her eyes, focused, and the television turned back on by itself. Joshua froze. This child had abilities far beyond anything he had seen. Colonel Howell's voice crackled over the radio. She was hiding nearby and had been captured moments later. Joshua responded to her call. Howell asked if he had eliminated the weapon. Joshua replied that there was no weapon, only a child. Howell's reply was blunt and emotionless. The child herself was the weapon. She commanded Joshua to eliminate her without delay. Joshua moved toward the young girl with his gun drawn. She was busy sketching on paper. When he glanced at her artwork, Joshua spotted a familiar marking. It matched perfectly with an emblem Maya had tattooed on her shoulder. He questioned the girl about where she'd encountered that design. She gave no answer. Joshua displayed Maya's image from his device and inquired whether she recognized her. The girl spoke in an unfamiliar dialect that Joshua couldn't comprehend. Yet her expression made it clear she possessed knowledge about Maya. He chose to spare the child's life. Suddenly, a local resident burst into the room carrying a firearm and aimed it at Joshua. Joshua reacted faster, shooting the intruder fatally. The sound of gunshots drew the attention of air security forces nearby. Joshua snatched the transport keys from the fallen man and fled with both Shipley and the young girl. Meanwhile, Howell and another soldier named McBride overpowered their captors and seized control of an AI police vehicle. They began tracking Joshua's location. Joshua's vehicle eventually broke down, but they had evaded the patrols. Joshua turned to the girl and asked her to take him to Maya. She said nothing. Then Shipley, who was gravely wounded, pointed his weapon at Joshua and demanded to be taken to the military base. Joshua tried to explain that the base was too far away, But Shipley died before Joshua could finish. Joshua left the body behind and continued toward the city with the girl. He gave her a name, Alfie, and placed a hat on her head to make her appear human. Howell eventually found Shipley's body. She used a memory extraction device to copy the soldiers' remaining neural patterns and transferred them into a deactivated AI. Shipley's consciousness briefly reanimated inside the machine. Howell questioned him. He revealed that Joshua had not killed the girl and was searching for Maya. After delivering this information, the AI shut down again. Now Howell considered Joshua a traitor. She vowed to eliminate both him and Alfie. Joshua reached the city with Alfie, but they were being hunted by AI authorities who wanted to retrieve the child. He sought out his old friend Drew, who now worked in an AI manufacturing facility. Drew was shocked to see Joshua after so many years. He welcomed him, but was stunned when he saw Alfie. He had never encountered an AI child before. Drew brought them to his home, where he lived with his AI partner. Drew examined Alfie and was astonished by what he discovered. He pulled Joshua aside and explained that Alfie was unlike any AI he had ever analyzed. She could control machines with her mind, not just nearby devices, but any technology at any distance. Her abilities were limitless. Even more remarkable, she would grow and develop like a human child, and as she matured, her powers would increase exponentially. Joshua listened in silence, realizing that Alfie was far more significant than he had imagined. Drew sent Alfie to another room with his partner, Connie. While they spoke, Alfie suddenly said that her friends were coming. Moments later, the doorbell rang. Connie checked and saw a delivery person. She brought in a package, but when she opened it, an explosive device detonated. Security forces stormed the building and surrounded Alfie. One officer told her she was safe and that they would protect her from the Americans. But Alfie turned away. She felt safer with Joshua. The guards attempted to neutralize her with a shock weapon. Right before they could proceed, Joshua charged into the area and took down the entire squad. Additional backup units were advancing quickly. Joshua grabbed Alfie and fled, but stopped briefly when he spotted Drew hunched beside Cammie's shattered remains. Drew was drowning in anguish, even though Connie was mechanical. She had been his companion. Joshua felt a sharp sting of guilt, yet had no moment to waste. He retreated with Drew and Alfie while Howell and McBride, pretending to be AI enforcement agents, eliminated the rest of the guards and secured Cammie's memory chip. Joshua started following the signal from Maya's marriage ring, which Drew had equipped with a tracking beacon. The coordinates led them to Joshua's abandoned household, the location where Maya had uncovered his lies. The structure stood devastated, empty and forsaken. Nothing but Maya's ring survived amid the destruction. Joshua's faith dissolved entirely. Suddenly, Alfie perceived activity. She notified Drew that companions were arriving. Drew observed aerial drones above and tried to caution Joshua. The drones began their assault. Drew suffered a fatal wound and went down. Joshua rushed to his side, but Drew's life was slipping away. In his dying seconds, Drew shared a startling discovery. Maya's father was never the creator. Maya herself held that role. Joshua remained paralyzed in shock before he could absorb these words. Soldiers materialized and cornered them. Their commander, Haroon, took custody of Alfie and struck Joshua unconscious. When Joshua woke, he was imprisoned on a ship. Haroon confronted him, asking why he wanted the child. Joshua explained that she was leading him to Maya. Haroon revealed that Maya had become the creator after her father's death. She had designed Alfie. Giving her extraordinary abilities, the child was not a weapon of destruction, but a means of protection. Hoon also revealed something Joshua already suspected but had refused to accept. The nuclear attack on Los Angeles 15 years earlier had not been caused by AI. It was the result of a human error, a malfunction in the system controlling orbital weapons. AI had been blamed unjustly. The wall had been built on a lie. Joshua absorbed this information, but his focus remained on Maya. Hoon considered Joshua too dangerous to keep alive. But as he prepared to eliminate him, an urgent call came. Nomad had destroyed another AI settlement. While everyone was distracted by the devastation, Alfie quietly freed Joshua from his cell. She asked him a simple question. Did he want to kill her mother? Joshua assured her that he loved Maya and would never harm her. Alfie helped him escape, and he followed Hoon's convoy by clinging to the underside of their ship. Hours later, the convoy arrived at the main AI settlement, a hidden village where hundreds of AIs lived in peace. But fear now gripped them. Nomad was moving in their direction. Someone suggested using Alfie's power to destroy the satellite. Hoon explained that Alfie was still too young. Her abilities had not matured enough to control and destroy Nomad from such a great distance. However, if they could somehow bring her up to Nomad itself, she could disable it. Joshua overheard this conversation. That night, he infiltrated the settlement while the A's were in sleep mode. He found Alfie resting beside Hoon and carefully deactivated Hoon temporarily. He took Alfie and began searching for Maya, but an alarm sounded. American forces had been detected approaching the village. The A is prepared to defend themselves. Howl's forces attacked with heavy machinery, tearing through the settlement. Alfie, seeing her companions in danger, broke away from Joshua and ran to help. She used her abilities to stop the attacking machines. Howl was furious and ordered McBride to kill Alfie. Through the smoke and chaos, McBride found the child and fired. Joshua saw what was happening and killed McBride immediately. But the damage was done. Alfie had been shot. Joshua cradled her in his arms, desperate to save her. Hoon told him they needed to take her to the Creator. They boarded a ship and fled toward a temple in the mountains. Howl captured one of Hoon's injured companions and tricked him into revealing their destination. She then pursued them with her remaining forces. During the flight, Hoon explained the truth to Joshua. Alfie was not just an AI. She had been created from a digital embryo that Maya had designed by scanning her own body. Alfie was essentially a copy of the child Joshua and Maya would have had together. Maya had programmed Alfie to be wary of humans, but she had also filled her with the same love Maya felt for Joshua. Alfie had been created just weeks before the attack that nearly killed Maya. Joshua's eyes filled with tears. He understood now why he felt so connected to Alfie. They arrived at Heaven Temple, a secluded monastery where AI monks lived. A monk took Alfie inside to treat her injuries. Joshua searched the temple and found Maya. She was lying on life support, unresponsive. A monk explained that Maya had been in a coma since the attack 5 years ago. She had lost their child. Every attempt to revive her had failed. They had kept her alive out of reverence. But there was no hope of recovery. Joshua wept. He took Alfie, who had been healed, and held her close. With a heavy heart, he made the decision to turn off Maya's life support. But at that moment, Howl's forces stormed the temple. They began killing the monks without mercy. Joshua tried to escape with Alfie, but Howl cornered them. She demanded that Joshua hand over Alfie and the Creator. Joshua told her that the Creator was already dead. Hoon arrived and shot at Howl, hitting a device on her back. It was a timed explosive. Howl panicked, but Alfie used her power to stop the bomb from detonating. However, when Howl's soldiers attacked Alfie, Joshua pushed her out of the way. Breaking her concentration, the bomb exploded, killing Howl and her men. Hoon urged Joshua to run and destroy Nomad. Joshua grabbed Alfie and fled, but American soldiers captured them shortly after. Nomad then fired a missile at the temple, obliterating it completely. Joshua and Alfie were transported back to the United States. General Andrews ordered Joshua to deactivate Alfie permanently. Joshua had no choice. He shut her down. But it was a deception. Joshua had only placed her in standby mode. Once they were alone in the transport vehicle, Joshua reactivated Alfie. She took control of the vehicle and they escaped. Joshua drove straight to an airport where flights to the lunar colonies departed. He boarded one of these flights with Alfie. As the spacecraft launched, Andrews received word of their escape. He ordered the flight to return, but it was too late. Alfie had taken control of the entire vessel. She redirected the flight toward Nomad. Once they reached the orbital station, Alfie sent the other passengers safely back to Earth for an emergency shuttle. Joshua and Alfie then fought their way through Nomad's defenses. Alfie used her abilities to overload and destroy the station systems. Joshua was killed during the final assault, but he managed to place Alfie in an escape pod and sent her back to Earth. Nomad was destroyed, with its surveillance network gone. The remaining eyes on Earth were finally safe. In the aftermath, investigations revealed the truth about the Los Angeles attack. It had been caused by human error, not by artificial intelligence. Public outrage forced the military to end its campaign against AI. Peace was slowly restored. Humanity and artificial intelligence began the difficult process of learning to coexist. The war that had defined a generation was finally over.